Greetings and salutations, my name is Deltran doing Fire Emblem Heroes, and I wanted to record a video about Armor Emblem and about how awesome Armor Emblem is and how you should probably invest in an Armor Emblem team, even though that has a pretty high price tag compared to other Emblem teams you can make. And then I recorded this video. Because, you see, the Tempest Trial is just wrapped up for me, and I wanted to catch up on all of the monthly quests so I can get those sweet orbs. So, you know, there's the Infantry, there's the Fire Emblem, there's the Armor Emblem, and then the Horsey Emblem, which is my personal least favorite. I decided to go ahead and fire up my Armor Emblem and run him through the training tower, and I simply failed my Armor Emblem team. Hard. I mean, guys, it was like Looney Tunes how quickly I turned them through death's door. It was utterly ridiculous and embarrassing. So instead of showing off and being all Armor Emblem fanboyish or whatever, I'm going to give you guys the top 5 things not to do when building an Armor Emblem team or including an armored unit into another team. Tip number 1 is don't give everybody the same assist skill. You can take a look on the left-hand side, all the armored units that I use. I'll probably talk about a couple of them more at length, but you'll notice that all but 2 of them have reposition. And I love reposition. Reposition just has a place near and dear to my heart. It is fantastic for rapid redeployments, but you know what? Whenever you have a team that has all the same thing, the repetition doesn't help you out. And at first I thought it would be fine, because the Armor Emblem teams move slow, and reposition is fantastic with rapid redeployment. It's great for baiting the enemy PvP teams, and then to switch it around and have the more favorable matchup. But you know what? It doesn't have the nice tight cornerings that other skills allow you to do, especially something like Swap. Swap is probably something that I should have put on a couple of these guys. The difference between reposition and swap, for those of you playing along with the home game, is reposition moves a character from your left side over to your right side, or from top to bottom, or vice versa, whereas swap literally can't use that. Where is the definition, can I? It switches around the position of both of the units. If you're running an armored unit outside of Armor Emblem, you definitely want to give them swap or pivot. Reposition won't help you too much if you just stick a random armored unit into a team that doesn't have a bunch of armor. Now, in my Armor Emblem team, I definitely want to keep reposition on some of these guys, but I think I'm going to switch out for swap. There's no sense in going with pivot. Pivot's nice whenever you have a faster moving unit. So that will definitely help me out here in the long run. So, tip number 1, don't give everybody the same assist skill. Tip number 2 would be don't prioritize attack-enhancing A-slot skills. Now, some builds, like the Brave Lance FE, which is something that I run, they demand one of these types of skills. I have Death Blow on her right now, of course. That's a no-brainer. She sort of just comes with it. There are other skills, though, that fit very well in the A-slot, and they're very serviceable because of how you want to run an Armor Emblem team, and I could talk a little bit about some of that later. I don't want to spoil all the tips all in one, but of course, other than Distant Counter, you know, everybody loves Distant Counter. I highly recommend it, but that's not the only thing. Defiant skills work really well in armored units. My Gwen has Defiant Attack. The Boost series of skills work really well on different armored units. Those are very lucrative because of the high hit point totals that most armored units have and the high defenses. Fury and Life and Death, though, shouldn't usually be left alone when it comes to armor units, because that guaranteed 6 true damage at the end of every fight, and the drops and defenses, that counteracts exactly what armored units are supposed to be, which is a walking wall. So that was tip number 2, don't prioritize attack-enhancing A-slot skills. Tip number 3, don't rush in. Or, you know, look before you leap. Now, armor is slow, and the computer is fast. So when it comes down to it, you should let the computer just come to you in a way that is appropriate, using all of your assist skills that I already talked about. Reposition, I love reposition. It's great for redeploying. You can throw all your blue units to the right, and then green's going to the right, so then you throw them back over to the left, and it's just a nice bait and switch. The computer won't recover from it because they're going to see your other units and just charge right in. I mean, armored units are mobile walls, so just let the enemy bash their face into it on your behalf. It's fantastic, it's fun, it'll make you laugh. So, tip number 3, don't rush in. Tip number 4, don't send home armored units. Arguably, you shouldn't be sending home everybody all willy-nilly just for 150 feathers anyway, but merging armored units is a great way to get a powerful unit. I have a plus 10 Gwendolyn that is a tank on the battlefield. She's minus attack in nature. I'm looking for a better one, to be honest with you, but she has 40 defense. And with her Brave Lance I gave her, she deals a moderate amount of damage, sometimes no damage against really armored targets, but then she just deals a lot because she also has Bonfire. And that, it makes me happy inside every time I see her use it, even if against somebody who she was previously dealing 0 damage against. She'll just start hitting for 20 and 30 damage. And yeah, that's mostly thanks to the plus 10 that she has, because the random number generator gods decided to give me tons of Gwendolyns. Nothing that's green gets past her. It's great. And I have a Drog. He's plus 7. He's gonna get to plus 10. And he's Zephiel's equal in every way. Okay, well, not every way. He can't wield Exux, and there's a few other things. But when it comes down to it, he's just as capable as Zephiel. It helps that I had a minus attack Corel that I could feed to him. But otherwise, that doesn't matter. And here, let me add one more thing. It doesn't matter if you think it's fair or not to compare a plus 10 4-star unit to a 5-star unit, because these are the resources that are given to you. If you get one 5-star unit and then you get 11 4-star units, you might as well merge them, make it, and proudly wave it in the air saying, yes, this is better than my 5-star unit. So, tip number 4 is don't send all your armored units home. Tip number 5 is don't let it go to your head. Now, watching armored units in all their glory, it's something special. I mean, they shrug off damage, they can kill anybody who's popular in the meta, but once you put an armored unit out there, you can't just assume they're an unstoppable war machine. I mean, Hector and Effie, they do come close, but, I mean, they even have their weaknesses. And it's easy to let an armored unit take the brunt of an attack and expect them to just stay at full health and always standing strong, but you know what, they're slow. And if they get ganged up on, they're gonna fall apart. And that's something that I've succumbed to a lot. And I really don't want to see anyone else succumb to it, because it's just a terrible mistake. It sort of builds off of all of the fallacies that sort of come along with it. Someone expects an armored unit to dominate the battlefield, and that's just not the way it is. Just because they can take a lot of damage doesn't mean that they literally are a one-man army. Sorry, Effie. But you gotta be careful on how you deploy your armory units, because they will make you happy whenever they just start munching up a bunch of AI whenever they go slamming into them. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. But there's a lot less opportunity for any type of drastic, let me try that one again, drastic impromptu tactical decisions and changes. There's some, but when it comes down to it, you have to know what you're doing whenever you put an armor on the field, because where they go is where they go and nowhere else. So that's tip number 5, don't let it go to your head. So if you could do me a quick favor and like this video if it gave you something to chew on. If you're on mobile, just rotate your phone and hit the +1 button, or hit escape on computer to get out of full screen and click the thumbs up. And subscribe if you want to hear about all the new hotness coming from Fire Emblem Heroes. Until next time, take it easy.